Hi, I'm Nick Smart, the VP of Intelligence at Crystal. FinCEN, the United States Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, just put one of its strongest stances yet in the fight against crypto-linked financial crime. In its recent action, it's targeting Huione Group, a financial conglomerate based in Cambodia, and proposing to label it a primary money laundering concern. That designation, under Section 311 of the USA Patriot Act, is usually reserved for threats tied to terrorism, weapons proliferation, or sanctions evasion. FinCEN is also proposing the toughest measure available, banning US institutions from doing business with Huione. This would effectively cut the group off from the US dollar system and severely limit its ability to move money internationally. Why this move from FinCEN, and why now? Huione has been alleged to operate in what we would call the conversion layer, the part of the money laundering process which transforms stolen or illicitly obtained cryptocurrency into some useful resource, spendable money. It may not sound dramatic, but this is a very key step that enables cybercrime to fund real-world operations. Stealing crypto is one thing, but converting it into cash is what powers weapons programs and rewards global scammers. And that's exactly what FinCEN alleged Huione were providing. FinCEN reported that Huione handled a minimum of $37.6 million in stolen cryptocurrency associated with North Korean Lazarus Group, a notorious state-sponsored hacking organization responsible for multiple assaults on cryptocurrency platforms. More troublingly, FinCEN says there was a direct relationship between Huione and a DPRK national with ties to North Korea's intelligence services. This individual, unnamed in the filing, allegedly met regularly with Huione executives to arrange conversions and cross-border transfers. These activities appear to have supported North Korea's broader weapons funding strategy, according to the United Nations, with the UN panel of experts estimating up to 50% of North Korea's foreign weapons funding comes from cybercrime. Operations like this help to make that possible, which explains why FinCEN has viewed Huione as a critical financial conduit in that ecosystem. But the story doesn't stop with North Korea. FinCEN also links Huione to $300 million in fraud-related payments, especially the so-called pig butchering scams, which are long-form romance frauds often run by serious organized criminal groups using trafficked labor from camps in Southeast Asia. Two Huione platforms, Huione Marketplace and Huione Guarantee, were used to provide infrastructure for these schemes, selling things like SIM cards, fake identities, messaging tools, even torture devices for scam operations. And it gets more concerning. Huione also recently tried to launch its own stablecoin, USDH, and advertised it as beyond the reach of regulators. That's a particularly red flag in an industry where credible stablecoin issuers are often working now with law enforcement to prevent abuse of their platforms. So what exactly is FinCEN proposing? If finalized, this rule would ban US financial institutions from working with Huione and require them to prevent Huione from accessing the US financial system through intermediaries. In effect, Huione gets cut off from the dollar system, making it much harder for them to convert the cryptocurrency into something they want to use. Between 2020 and 2024, Huione processed approximately $41 million through US correspondent banking relationships, which is modest in volume, but certainly high risk in terms of destination and transparency. In addition, this action is likely to trigger several ripple effects. Without a doubt, for North Korea, losing access to Huione will mean losing a reliable off-ramp for stolen digital assets. But beyond that, customers may seek to pull funds out of Huione fearing loss of access. Foreign banks may cut ties to avoid reputation or regulatory exposure, and Cambodian authorities are now faced with pressure to respond to their own enforcement. FinCEN acknowledges that some Cambodian businesses might be affected by this action, but concludes the impact will be manageable and that Huione services could be replaced by compliant providers. But it isn't just about punishment, it's about strategy, targeting the infrastructure that makes cybercrime profitable, not the tokens, not the fees, but the system that takes digital theft into real-world power. And Huione is a textbook case. By isolating this conversion layer, FinCEN is signaling a more sophisticated understanding of crypto-enabled threats, a smarter way to disrupt illicit financial networks. But, lamentably, Huione will not be the last. Other platforms will appear to try to fill the gap. At Crystal, we watch closely, using analytics, intelligence, and compliance insight to track this landscape in real time. For more detailed analysis, including links to FinCEN's proposal and our take on what this means for compliance teams, check out our full blog and transcript linked below.